Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Learning Hunt.
Today we will learn about the for loop. So as you know, in the previous video we will see about the while loop and do while loop. So in this video we will talk about the for loop. So why the for loop is different from while loop and do while loop, and what is its providers. So the for loop is provide they specify three things that in a single line, and these three things you can do a single line of a for loop. That at first you can set a loop counter to an initialize value. You can test your loop counter to decrement whether its value has reached the number of repetition desired or not. And the third thing is that you can also increase the value of loop counter each time the body of the loop has been executed. So this is the general form of for loop. Here I can create here, and you can see that this is the first line of for loop, and inside the first line you here initialize a counter, you test a counter, and here also you can increment your counter. And if you remember that when we create the while loop, then inside the while loop parentheses you have to give the condition only, and you have to give the variables value outside of this while loop. But in this case, in this for loop, you have to give the variables value inside this initializing counter. So at first we have to declare a variable. So I declare a variable I here, and now let's initializing counter, it means you have to give the variables value. So at first I want the I is equal to 1. Okay, here my I is equal to 1, and now we have to give the test counter. It means we have to give the condition that when your loop is executed, then it's check your condition is satisfied or not. So I give here my condition that check whether my I value is less than or equal to from 100. And now at the last we have to increment this. So as you know, this is the post increment I do here. You can also do the pre increment here. And if you have no idea about the while loop and do while loop, post increment or pre increment, so you can see my previous video. In this video we'll talk about all these things. So let's move our topic. So here I am going to print the value of the I, that it's the loop. So when I save this file and refresh my page, so this is the console of my page. You can also open your console of page. So simply right click on your web page and then choose this inspectors option, and then choose this console.log. So when I refresh my page, now you can see that my loop is printed here from 1 to 100. Okay, so here now I am going to change my condition. So I want that my I value becomes the 100, and now you check whether the condition is my I value is greater than equal to 1, and now I am going to decrement my I value. So it's minus. Okay, now my I value is from decrement from 100 to 1. So it means it's become the number of 100 to 1, or I is not less than, I is greater than. My condition is not satisfied, that's why it's not working. So I have to give here the I is greater than 1. So when I save this file and refresh my page, now you can see that my loop is printed here from 100 to 1. So you can see that how the for loop is working, and you can also give the variables value outside of this for loop in that way, but you have to give the semicolon here inside this initializing counter. You can give this small space or not, but you have to give the semicolon. When you save this file and refresh your page, then there is no effect on your loop, but when you delete or remove this semicolon and then save your and then try to execute your loop, then it's showing an error. Here you can see that it's show an error because I have to give here a semicolon. Okay, and you can also decrement or increment these things inside this loop here. When I save this file and refresh your page, refresh here, you can see that my loop is successfully printed without taking any error. But when I delete this semicolon, then you can see that it also gives same error here. This gives the syntax error. So we have to give here the semicolon also if we give the if we initializing counter or increment counter or not, but we have to give this semicolon. This is the necessary to give the semicolon inside this for loop. Okay, so this is for today. If you learned something today, then give a thumb, press the bell icon, subscribe my channel.